Hello everybody and welcome to this video on the Diablo beta tests that took place over the last 2 weekends. I gave my honest opinion on just the closed beta, and now we're going to work on the open beta, which you had the ability of the 5 classes. So I fully tested, even played with my wife for the beta test, and we played co-op on several classes. So first off, the co-op works pretty well. It's a lot easier to get in. It was sometimes it was easy to get in a party and sometimes it was not. So there was some difficulties partying up, but that's because the clans aren't available and it's a beta test. So I'm used to that. I will say the queue times for the second round of the beta test was a lot easier and it wasn't as long. So aside from that, the main issue is one, there's balancing problems. So the balancing problems were more apparent in the second weekend than the first. So when you have the necromancer come out of the gates and is fully OP, overpowered, very high damage, the minions do a lot of damage, and you really don't have to do much. It's almost like it's a broken class. And then you have the sorcerer that's also most of its powers, the lightning, the fire, and especially the ice, very powerful. The rogue felt very powerful from the get-go. If you go away from the ranged, the melee damage is so powerful. It doesn't matter what skill you're using, the rogue is very powerful. And for after 20 years to finally have the druid back in the Diablo franchise, the druid, unless you're doing a summon/lightning build, didn't work. It really felt weak. And of course, barbarians at the bottom. The barbarian builds did not, and I made it to level 25, and he just did not seem very well. The druid, I got to 25 as well. I got the rogue to level 18. I got the sorcerer to level 20. I got the necro to level 15. Just so I can get the mages. And what sucks is I mainly do melee. And I love melee with lightning damage. But the overwhelming, not good abilities of the barbarian made it very hard. Like, I beat Act 1 with the barbarian, but it was very difficult. I will say the story, going through it a second time, is very good, and there's a lot of nods in the whole game to D1, 2, and 3, which is very good. There's a lot of chatter online about who the wolf is. Is it Diablo? Is it Mephisto? Zoltan Kuhl? Deckard Cain? Who could it be? I'm still going with Diablo. That's my pick. I love the story. It is a very good story. The weapons, I don't have as much of the problem with as everybody else. A lot of people have problems with the weapons, the itemization. I say things are going to change when the game launches. But I am noticing a lot of people came from Path of Exile and Last Epoch. Last Epoch, which I do need to do a review on, is a very intricate game as well as Path of Exile. But I had more fun playing D4. Like, I was sacrificing sleep and making sure to be up early enough where I could play before work, stay up late enough, can play after work, and I just sacrificed as much time as I could to play the D4 beta. My wife played with me in the open beta, and by the time we had finished Act 1, she then pre-ordered the game. and she comes from D3. D3 is the one she has the most amount of time spent with. She really likes that game, and for her to jump in and want to is very. But she has some problems too. One is, for the first time in the series, the map is not overlaid over the screen, which is a problem, and it is some of the UI interface just doesn't work. It's very hard for you to find out if you're trying to do a certain type of build, where to find the things you're looking for. That's a problem. Backtracking. There is so much backtracking, and that is a problem. It's also a problem when you're going from one area of the map to another when you're trying to do the main quest. It's just, I don't think it goes very well. But as a whole, I think D4 is going to be a really big game. I don't have as many issues as I've seen online. So many people are talking so much shit about this game. But is it any coincidence that Path of Exile's League is going to end the same day that D4 launches? And people are going to play this game. I know they are. Yes, there are people wanting refunds for their pre-orders because it's not what they wanted. But I do feel that people are going to jump in this game, and it's catering more to the masses, and Diablo's always catered to the masses. They basically started this genre. They are the kings of the genre. It's not as like, what people fail to realize is, if you have a system that is too complicated, then people will not want to play. It took me years to fully understand what to do in Path of Exile. Like, how do I get the best out of the gems? What's the best to find? Gear, everything. The skill tree, what's the best path to go? What resistances do you really need? And that's a problem. Last Epoch has very complicated crafting and very complicated ways around it. The other thing that I want people to remember is, this game is about the campaign story. Last Epoch, most people skip the campaign. They get to the end of time and they skip the campaign. You have a game like Wolcen, which is very much broken. Very broken. But people say it has one of the best campaigns of any action RPG. Path of Exile does not have the most engaging campaign. But one thing Diablo's always been about is their story, their lore. So people care about characters that have been in the Diablo series. Whether it's Deckard Cain or Tyrael, the Prime Evils, the fact that the hero from the first game becomes a villain in the second, and that almost all the characters have a bad ending from the first game. And even for the second game, you find out the Necromancer went mad and killed people in D3. You have to kind of look at, they're about lore, combat, and then they go from there. Because even like the world boss was an interesting scenario. So we did the last world boss that was released. And what happened was, we got there, and boy did it kick our ass. But we still made it through. We ended up beating the boss. Now, I will say one issue that I do have with the game is, excuse me, my eyes are like leaking. Alright. One issue I do have is, you are getting more drops for shit you don't need. I was getting way too many drops for classes that I am not using, and I think there should be like something there. I do understand people's issues, gripes with the game. I truly do. But I think D4 is going to be a good game. I really like the beta, and I really hope other people enjoy the beta as well. So this has been Chucky, and this is the Diablo 4 beta review. You can catch me on Twitch. I do stream on Twitch. So it's just a short little video of my thoughts and opinions.